All right, let's get this thing back together. Where should we start? Where shall we start? First thing we might do is get the camera on get the camera on camera. Okay, if you've been watching the video, you saw the speed wheel here. You have to take it off to reassemble the top cover. So I took mine off. When I took it off, the bracket moved. As you can see, the timing marks are here and here. Just the tension from the galvanometer makes the bracket move this far. And in doing so, now your mark, which was at 12 o'clock, is now at about 2 o'clock. So what we have to do is put on the top cover, move this timing mark back to 12 o'clock, move this hole here that the speed wheel stud goes into back over here to about 10 o'clock, and put it back on. These washers here on top are spacers. You want to hold on to those and not lose them, because if you do, when you screw the use the nut to tighten down the speed knob, it will hit against the top cover and it will not move. So if you've been working on the camera, I hope you set these aside. I can't tell you how many there are, but sometimes it can be anywhere from 1, 2, 3, 4, counting on the camera and who's been working on it, or if the top cover's maybe got a slight bent in it. Okay, so looks to me like we're ready. Go ahead and go to this camera over here. Everything is ready to go. One other thing that I've warned about on other cameras, and I hate to keep sidetracking here, it's going to make this video really long. All cameras have this stud in the release, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to get mine out. Let's see here. There it is. Finally got it out. Looking at the monitor, as you can see there, when you've got the top cover off, you need to put some grease on this, which I've already done, and you need to put it back inside like so. And the reason for that is because when you're reassembling the camera, if you don't put grease on it, when you turn it over like this, it will fall down on the camera and you won't know where it falls. It could fall anywhere down in here and lock up your camera. So it's just something to be aware of. I would say 9 out of 10 cameras have that stud in it, and you always need to take it out and put some grease on it. Even if you think it's secure, I would go ahead and put some grease on it. It's not going to hurt anything. It's for your cable release up here. When you're using a cable release, it presses against this stud and it releases the camera. So that's just it's one of those side notes I wanted to I was telling you about that a beginner may not know. Now again, when you're putting it on, and I'm having trouble here. Here we go. When you're putting it on, make sure you don't touch this speed wheel. If it's engaged to the gears and it's in the proper position, you don't want it to raise it up accidentally. Okay, once you get your top cover on, first thing you do is you look around the top and make sure there's no wires that you've cut. We've got wires right here in that little board, and I don't know particularly in this camera, but on many cameras I've cut the wires by getting in a hurry and putting on top covers without checking to make sure that none of the wires were sticking out and getting in the way. Okay, that's it for putting on the top cover, except that the screws, we've already discussed those. And I'm going to have some trouble here probably. There we go. You've got your top cover screws here, and that's not in focus. This looks like it's a rounded shoulders, not the flat one. So you've got 4 of those to put in. I'm not going to, there's a flat one there, I can see it pointing up. I'm not going to film this. I'm going to turn the camera off because it would just, this video is already too long. Go ahead and put in all your screws first, being careful to not touch this speed control here. And, leave it in position. Don't touch it. Keep your fingers off of it. And when you get through, we'll move on. Okay. I got the screws back in, off camera. Rounded shoulders here, here, here. I know this seems tedious, but these videos are for beginners. And your flathead goes right here. And again, I see no wire showing. What about the mirror? Is it flipping up? Yep, it's doing good. Okay. So, assuming that we did everything right and we didn't hit anything, and assuming this camera will focus, you can see our timing mark. If we put the speed knob back on, the timing mark is in the wrong position. It should be up here, and the hole here that the speed control goes into, and I will show it here hopefully if the camera will focus for me. There it is right there. Goes in that hole, and this hole should be over here at about 10 o'clock. So it's in the wrong position. And what did I put in there? What is that? That is a washer. Oh, that comes off the goes right in there. A learning moment. Don't lose that washer. I just lost it, and I've been doing this 45 years. I told you you would learn something if you watched the second half. I wasn't lying. Okay. I may have to do this second part off camera. I don't know that I can do it on camera. I am moving things around here so we can see what's going on the best we can. But we'll try to do it on camera, and if I fail, we'll do it off camera. Okay, timing mark is in the wrong place, so we move it up to about 12, like so. Then we get something and stick in here. It has to be very thin, like a knife blade. And we line it up like so, and I missed. In other words, oh, there we go. Okay, I finally hit it. Actually did it for a change. Isn't that great? I was nearly missed it. Okay, that's how you do that. The slide was in the wrong position. Tension moved it. So you've got to move that timing mark back up to 12. Get that hole over to about 10 o'clock. Holding it down with something really thin like a knife blade. And then press it down. And you'll miss the first time occasionally. I do. So, what is next? Got 2 more things. And I'm fishing them for them here on my desk. And I don't know if I can do it. There we go. Finally got it. The washer I almost lost. In fact, it might have fell down on the camera if I had noticed it. Okay, and then put this on top like so. So much fun repairing cameras looking at a monitor. 45 years. And repairing cameras looking at a monitor. I suppose after I do this few years, I'll get better at it. Okay, screw that down. The knob is has some play. So what you do is like move it to 1,000, and then you don't want your 1,000 to be up here. Before you tighten it, you push it down this direction. It's still not lined up perfectly, but a lot of these old cameras aren't. And so next thing I'll need to get is my pliers and tighten it up slightly. And I'm going to do that off camera just to save a little bit of time. Okay, I tightened that up off camera. I was going to go on, but I decided to come back and explain one thing. I already warned you when we were going into the camera to never tighten this more than a 3. Never a 4 or a 5. Remember, this is probably brass. I didn't check to see if it was. I suppose I could have used a magnet. But if you go to 4 and 5, you will break off this nut and inside that hole. And then you'll have to drill it out. So you'll be tempted to tighten it up. It's just human nature, especially for men. You want to crank it down so it never backs out and gets lost. And in doing so, you'll break it off. Don't. Camera parts normally just need about, on a 1 to 10, a 3 is enough. Now, if we've done everything right, and we never know, the slide in there is moving the galvanometer, and the needle is moving in the viewfinder, and that's controlling our exposure now, along with the meter, of course, the photocells. But like normally I set my cameras for 100, and I'm having trouble reading the monitor. Why? I don't know. Oh, there it is. It's looking at the wrong place. Right here, 100 at 125. I wish that this was more lined up with that, but I have worked with these enough in the past to know that it's not worth going into the camera and fiddling with it. You hardly can ever change it, get it perfect. So, okay, backing off here. We've got the dangerous part done, let's say. Top cover's on. The speed wheel is attached, and according to our timing markers, everything is lined up. You won't know for sure until you put a battery in the camera and check the exposure. I suppose if a person wanted to, they could, we don't really need the advance of the rewind. A person could set it up if you know some way to check the exposure, and you could put on the speed wheel and check your exposure to make sure it's right. Like, for instance, if you were adjusting it and you wanted to come back into the camera and adjust the pot over here and get it on closer to center. Now you would say, well, why wouldn't it be? Again, another tip from on the second half. When you put the top cover on, you remove all light, stray light from hitting the photocell. Sometimes when the top is off and you've got the speed control on and you're adjusting the meter, stray light in your work area can hit the photocell, and so as you adjust it, you're adjusting the needle to the wrong position. The true test is to get the top cover on and then test it. With the top cover off, it may not be dead on. So if that's important to you. And as long as I'm here, another point that there it is right there. There is a second adjustment point for the meter. It's right here. You see that little screw there with a notch in it. It's not a screw, it's a cam. In other words, as you up at the top, it's not round. It's got a cam up at the top. So as you turn this left and right, you're changing the position of the galvanometer. I never use it. And you'd say, well, why not? Because if the pot in here is not enough to adjust the meter, that means that this photocell, which is located here, is bad and needs to be replaced. In other words, even if you came down here and you adjusted it this way, the photocell is still bad. It's going to be weak. In other words, in low light situations, it'll give you incorrect readings. If you understand what I'm saying. The pot up here has more than enough adjustment in it to adjust the camera meter. It comes from the factory dead on. And this resistor up here doesn't need much movement to change it. And when it gets to the far extreme, it means your photocell is getting weak. It means in low light situations it will not read properly, or not at all even. And so even if you adjust it here, what you're doing, it's, what's to say? I don't know how to put it in words, but you haven't fixed your camera. It's broken. The photocell's bad, it needs to be replaced. And even if in one situation, like in bright sunlight, you use this and you get it to the needle in the right place, in low light situations, it won't read properly. So I don't use that adjustment there. Although you could if you wanted to. Maybe there's some reason you would want to use it, maybe to temporarily fix a camera until you could find a photocell. This speed control up here, make sure as you're turning it, it's not hitting the top cover here. Remember I told you about those brass washers underneath here. I told you it could be anywhere from 1 to 4 of them. If you lose one or somebody else has ahead of you that's been working on the camera, this will become really hard to turn. And it's because the wheel is rubbing against the top of the camera. These are the little things that nobody will tell you. They won't be in the books. Most tutorials on YouTube will not tell you. It adds to the length of the video, but they're important. Just such small details, like the second adjustment here, like the washers underneath the speed control. These are things that you need to know. Okay, it's time to move on to the advance and assemble that. The advance and the rewind are really easy. 90% of this is done. So let's set this aside and move on. Okay, it's time to put on the advance. Switch over here to a camera, which is in the wrong position. I noticed the that this cover here was being pushed up, and I glued it back. I don't know if the glue is set yet. Here we go. With some contact cement. Nothing important. It's just there for decoration. It is yours may come off or it may stay on. Just glue it back into position. It just fits in there snugly. Okay. Where should we start? This right here, if you followed my instructions, you've got your timing mark on there. You know that it always timing marks always face forward normally, and it fits right on there. The stud on your advance lever fits right inside here. This right here engages a shaft here, which goes all the way to the bottom, which charges your camera and advances the film. So now the next piece. Next piece is your advance lever, goes on top. And then this right here, the washer, spring washer. Looks like there's some grease on it from before. I didn't remove it and I didn't add any because the advance lever had the amount of resistance I wanted it to have. As you can see, there's this is not like the speed control. The two studs fit right on that notch there, hold it in place. And your decor cap goes right on top, or it's actually a nut. Doesn't look like a nut. I hate to call it that, but that's what it is. Screws down in there, and they scratch up real easy. Be careful. Okay, tightened it up there. I'm going to tighten it up off camera to speed things up, and then I'll get back to you. Okay, I'm back. I tightened up that decor cap. There it is. Used my needle nose. Again, as I warned you when we were taking it apart, this cap here is a nut, and you don't want to tighten it more than a 3. If you're extremely nervous, maybe a 4, but never a 5. You will break off that center screw into the camera, into the shaft. I would just suggest a 3. If you're working on your own cameras, move this back a little bit. If you're working on your own cameras and it does get loose, you'll be right there to go tighten it back up. But I would not tighten this beyond a 3, and definitely this one never beyond a 3. That's on a 1 to 10 scale. Cameras are not cars. People work on cars a lot, and they come to a camera and they think everything has to be super tight, and they don't. Same way with the screws on the top cover. A 3 is enough. In fact, for a top cover, a 2 is enough to work on cameras. The cameras are not subject to a lot of abuse or torque or vibration in most parts. If a part needs more than that, I will tell you. But if I don't say anything, assume that a setting of about 3 on a 1 to 10 is enough force. Okay, we've got on the when you put on the top cover, the first thing you want to check is your film counter. Quite often, this is one of those little things that I told you I'd tell you about. Quite often along the edge here, there are ratchets, usually 2 of them. So when you advance the camera, the top may swivel in, but inside it locks, but it won't fire. It has to be ratcheted all the way before it'll fire. And those two ratchets have a little spring on them. Usually it's a straight wire and it's tensioned. And what happens is when you're working on your camera, your finger will hit one of those wires and pull the ratchet. Either the spring will go right over the ratchet, or the ratchet will be pulled out of position. And I've done that. I'm going to not say 100, I'm going to say thousands of times. You're just so busy. You're up here working on the prism, or you're working on the meter, and you're holding the camera. Switch over here. You're holding the camera by the edges. It doesn't happen over here on the rewind side. It just happens right here. And it's always because the film counter wheel has two ratchets on it usually. And your finger will catch those ratchets or the springs on the ratchets and pull them out of position. And so, I always check the film counter first thing after I get the top cover on to make sure that it's counting. And then I open the back and make sure it returns to 0. It's a small thing, but it's these things that I would teach an apprentice to watch for. There's a lot of small things that have to be taught in these tutorials that turn a 10-minute tutorial into a 1-hour tutorial, but it's necessary for beginners. Somebody who has experience working on cameras, that may not be a problem. Okay, the next thing we need to do is put on that rewind knob. Maybe we can do that without turning the camera off, since this one is so simple. Okay, I'm getting my washer here while you're just sitting there wondering when he's going to finish. And put that up there like so. This little washer gets lost many times. I've lost a lot of them. I never much worry about it because they don't do anything. There are some cameras that when you lose the washer, it will cause the rewind knob to hit the top of the camera, the top here. But not on this camera. The washer on there is just to help, I guess, to screw on when it reaches the bottom, or slide, or to keep friction from either protect the rewind knob or to protect the shaft. And the little washer in between does it. That's what its job is for. You'd have to go talk to the designer. All I know is that where anything meets, quite often there's a washer there, and I'm sure it serves a purpose. Don't pull this out like this when you're tightening it. Keep it inside. Use your hand and just tighten it like so. Okay, that's it. Managed to do it. Move that back. Okay, right there. Removing the top cover off a FTQL Canon. Okay, that's it. That's enough. Hope you enjoyed the quit hitting things here. Hope you enjoyed the video. It was a lot to teach, a lot of ground to cover. This video is going to certainly be over an hour. I could make these videos in 10 minutes if I just got down to the basics and rushed through them and cut out a lot of extra footage, but you wouldn't learn anything. You would have problems all. What am I trying to say? It's kind of like teaching an apprentice. You got to learn all those little details, like how many washers are under the speed knob, timing marks on the slide. What else? How to tight to get the nuts on top of the advance or the speed wheel. There's so many little tiny things along the way that need to be taught to an apprentice to show them how to repair a camera. I can't make the video shorter. Nobody would care 50 years ago, but today everybody's, we live in what I like to call the TikTok generation, where everybody wants it in 1 minute or less. I really get a kick out of when I go through there. There'll be something they're going to teach in 10 minutes and 10 minutes or less, and something that I know that I've learned that took days. It's funny. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something about cameras, and I hope your camera repair goes smooth. Just pray to the camera gods real often, and I'm sure it'll be fine. Next time.